everybody. It's the BKBK podcast where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. I'm your host, Brandon Phillips, and I'm joined by my co-host, Brian Taylor, Kerry Taylor, and Captain Kyle McKenna. All right, so fellas, you saw the Jet game. Did the Jets pay them bills, or are they 30 days past due? So what's up with that credit? You know what I mean? Like, what's up with the Jets credit? And you know what? Yeah, with the sound of that, we all know the answer. You know, the Jets credit score went from like a 780 down to like, a 520 quick. So let's talk about it, man. Let's get some game reaction. I just want to say one thing. First of all, because I'm a sensitive dude. I'm like the big man sensitive guy. I fall in love quick.
You sensitive?
Sensitive. Crazy sensitive. I'll drop just a single teardrop on you quick. Alrighty? And I almost did that with Quentin Williams. You know what I'm saying? You guys know how much I love Q. Q is the man.
2 sacks and a tackle for loss.
Been a partridge in a pear tree.
I know. And the thing is, we only had, I believe, and you guys can back me up on the stats, 3 sacks on the day, but Q had 2 of them, and he had 2 of them from his interior tackle position. All righty?
Great.
So you guys know I love Quentin. He's got 11 sacks on the year. If he's not voted All-Pro first team, I'm a flip. Okay? So I feel like things just went downhill for the defense, as soon as he left. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they still played relatively well, but like you saw that the defense became more porous. So I don't want to say that they fell off a precipice, but it definitely became more porous when he left the game. They were running up the middle a lot more, and we were not getting that internal or that interior pass rush, and it kind of hurt us. So
yeah, I felt the big difference was we were able to, with the defensive line, corral him, meaning Josh Allen, right? So when we were rushing, we were able to kind of corral him where when we got pressure up the middle equally as well as the outside so that he couldn't get out of that box and run and scramble. When Q went out, then we weren't getting the push up front. We were getting the edges, but the push up front. So he was just, with the wide 9, he was kind of cutting into it. Romo was talking about it, the whole game and stuff. Like, it was just such a running lane for him.
He was 100% right.
Yeah, and that's exactly what was happening. And still in all, it's not like they had a great offensive game, Buffalo did, right? So we turned the ball over twice. Michael Carter's fumble was just backbreaking, right? Because we were driving. We had an opportunity to score at that point in time. And then also, Flacco's, sack fumble. They scored 3 points off of that as well.
Right.
So when you look at that and the inability for us to score touchdowns, especially the last one when we were in the red zone, it just put us in a position where we weren't able to make the comeback in this particular game. The elements obviously were an issue early on, but it affected both teams because we went into halftime 0-0. So turnovers, inability to score in the red zone, again, biting us this game.
Yeah, but I second that emotion. My thing is when you look at the stats and the stats reveal that you had a performance that surpassed the performance of the other team in terms of time of possession, in terms of total yards, in terms of passing yards, in terms of rushing yards by your running backs. I mean, Buffalo had 102 rushing yards, but 47 of those were from their quarterback, right? We dominated first downs. We had 19, they had 14. But what we also dominated in was penalties and turnovers and sacks, right? We had 73 total plays to their 54. I mean, this game really, to me, sort of mimics what the game that we played last week against Minnesota. Well, again, we dominated in those critical areas, but couldn't punch it in when we needed to, and made poor mistakes in areas that veteran teams don't make, right? So again, I'm gonna chalk this up again to coaching. As it relates to the prior game that we lost to Minnesota.
Be more specific, Harry, when you say coaching.
I'm gonna say specifically play calling, and I think we did a better job in the second half, but so did Buffalo, right? We made the adjustments, but Buffalo made the adjustments as well, and I believe it's the offensive coordinator that is not taking advantage of the situations that we're in. I mean, last game there were 6 opportunities in the red zone, and we only scored in 1. I don't recall how many opportunities we had in the red zone this game, but I don't think we had enough opportunities to score the ball, and I don't think we made enough plays. I don't think we called the right amount, the right plays at the right times to give this offense the level of success that was necessary.
Hey,
I
Kyle,
think we had two.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Two opportunities in the red zone, I believe. One was a touchdown, and the other was a field goal.
Yeah.
And
we only had 2 opportunities from the entire game. I mean, that says
a lot
a lot.
A lot of that stacked up to field position too. So you kick off to them in the first half, and you get them 3 and out right away, and but from there the field position in that whole first half went Buffalo's way, where we were coming out of our end zone a great deal. So a lot of the offense that we were getting was backed up offense. I watched the game with no sound. I'm in Nashville right now, and I watched the game with no sound while a band played. And then when the sound was on, they were playing the Tennessee Jacksonville sound. So there was a lot going on, and I didn't hear a lot of what any of the commentators were saying, so I was guessing a lot.
Hey, Kyle, why don't you tell the audience where you are right now?
Yeah, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, down at a convention, National Athletic Directors Convention.
You near Broadway?
And I was on Broadway last night.
Okay.
Hopefully, there's no pictures of it. Or
yeah,
I've been down to Nashville too, and I was like surprisingly like, it's not bad.
It's not.
Broadway on a Saturday night is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
and, yeah. A lot of live music,
a lot of barbecue.
But I mean, like,
love it.
Yep. I went to the sports bar down the road, and a live band played continuously for the entire game, which was really cool. They were good too. Shout out to Charlie Argo. But the thing about it was, like, I didn't know what was wrong with Mike White other than what I saw.
He was
I
getting
don't understand.
too much, man.
Well, he got hit a lot. I think I texted to you guys. He's either got the wind knocked out of him or every rib is broken.
Every single one.
So when he did the Willis Reed and came out of the locker room, like I was excited about that. But the going back to what Kerry was talking about with penalties, so you have turnovers and penalties that will skew that time of possession and total yards and everything like that. They did not call enough penalties on Buffalo's offensive line.
Yeah.
Our pass rush wasn't slowed down; it was held. And Bryce Huff and Carl Lawson were held the entire second half, and we didn't get any of those calls. The penalty should have evened out a little bit, in my opinion, because a lot of the runs that Josh Allen was able to break were as a result of just like complete holding, like arms wrapped around bear hugs. So I was disappointed because I thought that Bryce Huff was going to accumulate more results from the pass rush, but I was disappointed with the lack of calls there.
I would love to add to what you're saying, if you don't mind, real quick. I mean, yeah. I agree with what you're saying, Kyle, too, but I also think as far as adjustments on the defensive side of the ball, that when Quinnen got hurt and left the game, that's when you didn't see the the pass rush or holding the fort in the middle as far as being able to run up the middle, because it wasn't just Josh running up the middle; it was also their running back. I saw Singletary, running through some pretty big holes, and also I think what needs to happen, like if you're playing against an offense and they're making plays against you, you know, you have to make adjustments. But you should also make adjustments if you don't have the personnel anymore that makes you successful. So there's no more all pro Quentin Williams, so that's going to give you that stout play in the middle, straight up. That's going to prevent Josh Allen from stepping up or climbing in the pocket. Now we're seeing Josh Allen picking like the B gap or whatever to kind of run through because he's running the wide nine. Maybe you don't run the wide nine. And for people that don't know, it's when your defensive ends or edges are shading the outside shoulder of the tight end. Okay, maybe you play the 7, which is on the inside, and the 9 is on the outside. I think the 8 is basically head up, and then the 7 is shading on the inside of the tight end or whatever. So maybe you kind of close it down a little bit, at least one side, just so that both sides aren't 9s. You coach it up a little bit, because he was just running through these big holes every step of the way, and they were still running the wide 9 during running plays as well. So, I think they should have and could have made some coaching adjustments in that regard.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with you that, like, when you have Rankins and Quentin Williams in there, that's a choose your poison type of deal. But Rankins isn't the same when Quentin Williams isn't in there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I to your point, I agree with that. But I also
In addition, they were held, and I agree with you.
in addition, the edges were held
Yes.
because they were in that wide 9, they couldn't handle it. But I also, from my point of view, I don't feel like our defense got ran on.
No, we didn't.
No.
We didn't.
At all.
We didn't.
no.
And we didn't. And again, when you say ran on, I'm not only talking about it from the perspective of the running backs. It's also, Josh Allen. And like you're saying, I do agree with you to a certain extent, Brandon, about the approach that you should take as an outside linebacker or end, making that upward push, towards the quarterback. They just took routes toward the quarterback that were too far out, right? So they probably weren't lined up necessarily up against the tight end. Maybe it was the tackle, but it's the route that you're taking. It's the route that Lawson was taking. It's the route that I forgot number 52. JJ was taking to the quarterback that would leave a seam from that tackle to tight end area
I agree with you, but they took those routes. I agree with you, Kerry, and they took those routes because that's the play that was called, and I feel like they should have amended. The coaches should have amended it, and kind of mix it up a little bit more by not always either lining up outside shade of the tackle, or maybe if you're inside going outside. It's still creating the same effect, but maybe having more of a condensed rush while still offering containment on the edges.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I saw them lined up. You can just look at it and you can see, oh, that's a wide 9. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And most of it was the wide 9, and they stayed in that. And I get it. Sometimes you want to listen. You stick with the girl that you brought to the dance, right?
Yeah, scheme is a scheme. Yeah,
and right, and I understand that. But also, you just lost an all-pro caliber defensive tackle, and you're seeing the after effects of that. So you kind of have to make a coach's decision to kind of change things up. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I don't.
There's also.
Well, I would say this: we didn't lose the game on defense.
No, we didn't.
Right. So we could talk about the splits all day and how many runs that we potentially gave up from those runs. They were 2 of 13 on third down. 2 of 13. We were 8 of 17 actually. They 130 yards passing for the game. Right. This is the Buffalo Bills, who average probably way more than 20 points a game. And I just think that it wasn't really on the defensive side of the ball that we lost the game. It was offense. We scored 12 points. And 2 of those were, the safety.
Right.
When we blocked the punt. And I was like, oh, my God, we didn't score a touchdown there.
Right.
Like, that was the worst bounce ever, that we didn't score a touchdown. JJ comes in clean, blocks, and then ends up outside of the end zone, man. It was just crazy from that perspective. But you can't beat the top team in the AFC scoring 12 points, 10 on offense. You just can't.
Brian, question though. Is it safe to say statistically that Josh Allen has had his 2 worst games of the year against the Jets?
200%. Yeah.
So
but he
so I'm
didn't
gonna
turn
put
the
a silver
ball over.
lining-
He didn't turn
Best
the
team in
ball
the
over too.
AFC. The best team in the AFC are the Buffalo Bills, and honestly, they don't match up well against us.
I think it's
Yeah, I said-
arguable whether they're the best team in the AFC.
I
That's
think
definitely
that-
arguable.
I think they're better than
I think the Chiefs are better.
I think the
No.
Chiefs are better right now, and I'd like to play Miami at full strength and see what it looks like. But that's going to come down to the last minute. But my silver lining point here is that when we like looked in the crystal ball at what the season would look like, I think most of us picked the Bills to beat us twice, right?
Sure.
And now we're coming, off of the second game. It's a 1-1 thing, and there's a huge chance here, if we play our cards right, that we might play them a third time. If we make the playoffs and we do anything, we're going to play them a third time.
Yeah.
And I agree with Brandon that we are not a good matchup for the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills were out for blood. They wanted nothing more than to blow us out today. And they couldn't. They could barely. They're Apollo Creed in Rocky II.
But they beat up our
Except
offensive line.
except we didn't win.
Right.
Yeah,
They
we
beat
won.
up- right.
We
That's
won
a, that's a
the
big
we
that's a
won the
big
first fight.
accept. That's a big accept. I mean, our offensive line didn't play well at all.
Exhibition.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the tough part is, right, we are now 7-6. We do not control our destiny at this point as far as the playoffs are concerned. If New England wins out, they have the tiebreaker against us, and they end up with the last spot. Now, yeah, that would make you want to throw up all over yourself, right? So, and here's what I'm looking at, which makes it even tougher, is that you have teams like Detroit, you have teams like Miami, you have teams like Seattle. I mean, you have teams that we have to play that are putting up points.
And don't sleep on Jacksonville. Jacksonville put up a lot of points today. We got to play them too.
Yeah, yo.
But again, I'll repeat what I was saying.
Yes.
Give me a team, show me a team that our defense was either run all over, passed all over, or scored all over on.
I'd say the last time that happened, it was Cincinnati, that game that we all went to.
Agreed. I mean, so I'm not saying that. But how many points are we going to hold Detroit to, and how many points are we going to score? At the end of the day, we have to score more points than the other.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. What I'm saying is that our defense is not going to be the problem in any of these last 4 games.
No.
It is going to be our offense.
Sure.
So that should be the focus. I'm of the opinion that our defense is set it and forget it. Right? Even with Quinnen probably not playing the next game, and possibly not playing the game after.
Come on, man! Don't talk it up yet.
I don't necessarily think Quinnen's going to be out, but I don't think Mike White plays.
You don't think what? Say again. I'm sorry.
I don't think Mike White is going to be able to play.
If Mike White doesn't have broken ribs, he'll play. They'll shoot that injection in there as long as they don't miss the rib and puncture his lung like they did.
A little cortisone shot.
What is this? Any given Sunday?
It sure is.
I mean, like I think that
he's playing for his career, man.
He was playing on a lot of adrenaline.
Right, and when he gets home, and he has time to rest, and he's got the black and blue marks all over his his lower abdomen,
It's all right,
yeah,
man. It's
then
all right.
things will be different. But
He might have a collapsed lung or something like that too. I mean,
I don't think
like,
at this point, if he had a collapsed lung, that would have been evident during the game.
some of the faces he was making, there was a lot of evidence that he was like,
He
he
has some crack. He has some crack ribs. There's no doubt in my mind of that. But they'll flapjacket that fool, and he will be in the next game. I have every confidence. He won't allow them to not allow him to play.
If Mike White can't go, it's Zach Wilson.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not a question.
And I don't want to see that right now.
And who does? I don't think Zach Wilson wants to see it. Let's be clear.
Wow.
Zach Wilson's playing for his career though.
Sure he is.
Playing for his career.
Sure he is, but he's still getting the paycheck. Mike White after this year is not necessarily right. So the idea is that Mike White is going to do everything he can to make sure that he is, at the next snap.
Right.
Yeah.
To stay behind the wheel of that vehicle, right? I mean, that's exactly
even if it's going off a cliff.
Yeah.
He is going to stay behind the wheel of that vehicle. He's right. His hands are duct taped to the steering wheel.
As we continue, I just want to because we're not done, because we spoke a lot about the defense, and I think all four of us agree that we didn't lose because of our defense.
No. We
transitioned to the offense, and it's been like a few weeks, but I'm going to say for us and for what we were really critical of in the first half of the season with the offensive line, and then it took them longer than we had hoped for them to gel because of the injuries and being able to kind of gel into the system itself. But I think we reverted back to not being that great today. We didn't get that good enough push on the O-line, except for that touchdown run by Bam Bam. That was a nice run. I'm going to give him more credit, than say the O-line, even though I know Kerry wants to tell me that that the center made a nice downfield block, which he did.
Kerry's not going to tell you that. Kyle is.
Okay. Oh, Kyle is? All right, bet.
No. One of the top 5 centers in the NFL made a nice block down.
Exactly what I was saying.
Yeah. 2 years running.
The top 5 centers might be the center for the Buffalo Bills that we played against. You know what I'm saying? Except for when he's going up against Quentin Williams. Take that.
He got Van Rotten next to him.
You got Van Rotten out of Rockville Center, Long Island. Get out of here. No, but I feel like our O-line let up a lot of pressures today, got our quarterback beat up, and there was not enough push on the O-line, man, to really get a running game the way that we really wanted it to go. And I feel like Bam, he played better than our offensive line did with the second effort to, get more yards after contact.
I mean, I think it was 2 good defenses playing against each other.
Yeah.
And one eventually had to kind of give a little bit in order for one of the teams to break the 0-0 tie. So if you look at the whole first half, you got both defenses were playing like their hair was on fire, and until that touchdown, which I thought came off of a turnover.
What touchdown came off a turnover? I'm sorry.
The first one.
No, because they kicked the field goal off of that fumble that Flacco had. I don't think that was a touchdown.
That was only a field goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may be misremembering that, but
talking about the first touchdown. Their first touchdown.
Yeah, the one right before the halftime.
That was
right. No. They started at like they started in their red zone. I don't think it was a turnover.
No, it wasn't a turnover. They started in their red zone. They had a nice drive. They did a great job doing the 2-minute drill.
Right. They got the ball at the 30. That's what it was. They got the ball at the 30. It wasn't a turnover.
At their own 30.
Kick. Right. It was a kick. And
then he got a first down.
Right. They added. We kicked it, and then they added
for a holding,
10
yards
for holding to the 20.
Yeah, they also Josh Allen ran for a first down that was like a blatant hold. and that was on 4th down, I believe, or it was like 3rd and long. But the defenses were playing very well.
Yeah.
Didn't Mosley jump?
And
Wasn't that when Mosley jumped?
No, that was the second half.
Oh, second half.
No, that was during that
drive.
Succession.
that was
during
that drive.
succession.
Yeah. That was during that drive. So yeah, we would have gotten the ball back had that
I
play
think
not happened.
I also think that the rules committee are going to look at those plays where people come in motion to take the snap because it's not legal. He comes forward to get under center to take the snap. So
Right.
and he
can't
doesn't.
come forward, right. And you can't come forward.
Yeah, you can't come forward
Right.
in motion.
You gotta be lateral.
It's a very. I think they'll adjust that.
Mhm.
But with that said, I don't think Mosley tried to time it, and it would have been a great
Troy
play.
Polamalu it. He tried to Troy it.
Yeah, but I think at the same time they weren't fooled by what they were doing.
Right.
And he was enticed offsides too.
Honestly,
So
I wasn't mad at it. I was like, okay, you know what I mean?
I wasn't mad at it either.
I wasn't mad at it. Dude is balling out.
Sure.
But if you look at like if they're both balling out on defense in the first half, the Jets defense played better than the Buffalo defense in the second half.
Considering what the Jets defense is going up against, I'd say that's fair what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Diggs. Diggs didn't really do all the. He didn't pump out a Diggs game. Josh Allen didn't pump out a Josh Allen game.
Guys, I will
he
repeat.
took himself out too on the last drive.
Yeah.
Guys, I will repeat.
He wasn't in there on 3rd down.
I will repeat it, and I will repeat this until I am red in the face.
Low in the face.
We have not come up against a receiving core that has overwhelmed us yet this year.
I love it.
So it's not our defense that's going to be the issue. It is going to be our offense. Nobody can tell me that the remaining schedule that includes Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle, and maybe Miami, who we've already faced and played pretty well against, at home. I understand it's at home. None of them will overwhelm our defense. It is going to be our offense that is going to be the issue.
Feel much better. I'll feel much better about what you just said. If we get the news that it's just a little calf strain from Q, and he's back with us.
Q won't be back the next game. Again,
stop saying that, bro. Come on.
After that,
come on. Stop saying that, bro. Come on.
But that said,
stop it.
That said, we still should be able to handle the offense of Detroit, Jacksonville, and Seattle if necessary. Period. Without Q.
Let's not get crazy though, Kerry.
I'm not getting crazy. I'm just telling you what we have. Q stirs the drink, right? But my point is that we can get by without his presence for a game or two against the opponents that we have coming up. That's all I'm saying.
He doesn't stir the drink though. He's the foundation. He really is.
Was Michael Clemens inactive today?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was hurt. I mean, not hurt. He was sick.
Yeah, what we can't do is score 10 offensive points.
Right. That's my biggest concern.
That's the problem.
Come on.
That is indeed the problem right there. We
Come
have
on,
to
LaFleur.
LaFleur.
I mean, you playing like we're on the floor.
We got.
You want him to be La Ceiling,
right? Can we? Can we get the La Ceiling instead of the LaFleur? Hey, come on. Good Lord, Jesus.
Yeah. No more LaFleur. We want La Ceiling. That's funny. I mean, I guess what we're alluding to is it's really not about the players. That's the most disappointing today. It's really about the play calling because we love the offensive philosophy in general, this Shanahan style of offense. Am I right? Like we do like that. Wow.
Who says that? Who is that?
Wow. So what kind of offense?
I didn't think the play calling was bad. I thought that the the 3rd-and-1 pass to Elijah Moore was really a good idea. They
I hated that. I hated that 3rd-and-1 pass to Barrios near the end zone again too. By the way, they're like,
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly. That is what on a 3-on-1 to a
right.
little dude
yeah.
to
Like, where's
try to
Where's
throw it
Jeff
in a
Smith?
small window. That
I
was
know.
again the same thing. Again, where were we in the red zone?
Yeah.
No,
Where's Mims?
no.
Where's Jeff Smith? I don't know.
Now you know.
You know that if Poyer had hit Barrios on that play, it would have been a flag. He just missed him, totally head first, and flew right by him. But why does Barrios get triple coverage on a slant route?
And why are you throwing it to Barrios on a triple covered route anyway?
Correct. So, well, what does that speak to? Maybe not play calling, just a bad read. I mean, because the 3 people over here, 3 defenders are over there. Somebody's open. So, I mean, maybe it's just a bad read on that play.
I think that was his only read. I think he wanted to just get it and get it out. I didn't see him look anywhere else. So ultimately, that's on the quarterback. Yeah, you know what I mean. But I would have liked to.
Or if he was directed to throw it to him. If that was the play call, and you were directed to throw it in that direction, then that's on who? The offensive coordinator.
It's possible, but to be honest and to be objective, we don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think he should have been on the field. Like, I would like to see. It's 3rd-and-1. We're already in the red zone, like near the goal line. I think we're only five yards away from the goal line, and it's like I want to see taller dudes in there. You know what I'm saying? So we can get a fade towards the flag or something like that. Or I don't know. I mean,
I guess you're throwing there if you're asking that, because that was an original question as part of what Kerry said. It's because of the time on the clock remaining in the game. So so you have to throw the ball, otherwise you're using the timeout. And they didn't get the first down, so they ended up on 3rd down or whatever it was. So then we ended up actually kicking it at that point in time in the game. So that's one of the reasons why you're just not running it there.
Right.
I think Buffalo had poor time management at the end of the game.
Sure.
I think they should be called out for that. They're lucky that they couldn't put together a drive in the 4 downs that they had, because McDermott or whoever or Dorsey calls play action. It's incomplete. 2 seconds go off the clock, and we didn't have to use a timeout. Yeah, so we actually got our last possession with a timeout still in the hopper.
Sure.
Which should have never happened.
Sure.
They should have run the ball 3 times if they were going to get off the field, but they went aggressive, and it could have cost them. I definitely don't think we should have kicked an onside kick at the end either, because we have done a good job with time management.
But it wasn't. It really wasn't an onside. It wasn't an onside kick. It was like a squib.
Yeah, we didn't kick
that ended up being like to the 15.
No, I'm saying that, like, I would have elected not to have kicked an onside kick there.
You're disagreeing with the call. You agree with the call because that's what ended up happening.
Right. But I mean, like, you say to yourself, what would you do here? You have to squib kick too, because
you want to keep it in play.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily want to put the ball on the 25-yard line either.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it ended up there anyway.
Yeah. But but that was bad. That was bad clock management. And those are the things that are going to count big time the more important the games get. So,
I mean,
they showed that stat. They showed that stat of like being 0-6 in one-score games in 21 and being 4-3 this year. If that stat was given for us, we'd be like 2-2, I believe, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Last week was a one-score game, and this week was a one-score game. Actually, yeah, it was a one-score game at the end.
Right.
I mean,
with 5 opportunities to score.
And what I said to Kerry during the game was that I like the fight in this team. You know, we fight until the last play of the game, right at the end of the day.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things I do like about this team. We're still a young team, and Romo was talking about it during the game. We could have the offense and defensive rookies of the year as well, and Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. I mean, so
And he also said, "What if Brees was still here? He'd probably be in contention as well."
absolutely,
He
man.
might be ahead of Garrett Wilson. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
crazy, the ironic thing is, if Brees was here, then Bam wouldn't be.
That's fine.
Yeah, yes and no. Again, so he's developing as maybe our second
Definitely.
option right now.
Definitely
you
second
know,
option.
with Michael Carter.
No, I get
You
what you're
know,
saying, but
So
the only reason why he's here is because our star running back is hurt. So it's like if
nobody wishes he would have not.
No,
wishes
nah,
he would
nah,
have
of
been
course
hurt.
not.
You know, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, of course not. My
but,
thing
you
is
know,
like
it
if he
creates
stayed on the
opportunities for
practice squad,
other players.
if we never
Yeah,
heard, I'd be fine with that because if we never heard of him, that means that Brees is still here. So that's why I'm saying I'm fine with it. But you know,
he's jumped over 3 guys.
And Ty
Yeah,
one due
Johnson,
to
I didn't
injury.
even see Ty
Yeah.
Johnson. It was like
I
on
don't think
the
Ty, I
milk
don't think
carton.
Ty Johnson played today.
yeah.
Nor
And if he
should
did,
he.
he was on special teams. If he did, so I didn't see him at all.
He was on special
on the
teams.
offensive side of the ball at all.
Yeah, I got a question for the crew here, though.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So if we go through this entire season, we don't make the playoffs, are we disappointed?
Sure. And that's a Brian Shore.
Yeah, I'll be disappointed, but I think the biggest thing to get out of this is to see growth, whereas we didn't see that last year. So for me, number one is seeing growth, and I feel like I've seen that this year. I see, the fight in our team. I see the change in the culture. Robert Saleh has changed the culture of the team to make us fight until the very end. So that's growth right there. I see that we have these rookies who are playing like veterans. So I see growth there as well. I'm seeing growth in the coaching staff. Remember our defense last year was terrible.
Yeah.
We're running the same defense with the same defensive coordinator, and he's running like definitely a top 10 defense. I'd gather to say he's running like a top 6 defense now.
I think we're number 4.
Number 4, there we go.
Number,
top 5.
It's 100-yard difference in total yards per game.
I love it.
Yeah.
If you look at the turnovers we have this year compared to last year, through the roof. Sacks through the roof.
What,
You know,
We need to
what's your
gener- we
moaning
need to
about, Gary? What's
generate
going
a
on?
little bit.
Yeah, you got a hemorrhoid. What's going on with you, bro?
Is
Yeah,
the
go
camera
on.
on me right now?
Yes, it is.
All right,
Huh?
man. None of this matters. Every little stuff you said, who cares?
What?
If all that is the same, right? And we don't make the playoffs, none of it matters, right? Because all that would matter is have we developed a quarterback, right?
And we have
And
What's
the
that left
answer
arm doing,
and the
brother?
answer would be no if we did not make the playoffs. So at
Cut
the
it
end
out
of the
with that
day,
left
so at
wrist.
the end of the day, would I be disappointed we didn't make the playoffs? Sure, absolutely. If we made the playoffs and we still didn't develop a quarterback, I still would be pissed off, right? Because yes, our defense is better. Okay, and we don't have a quarterback. So who cares?
Gary, your movement is crazy. I love it. But then again, I kind of don't love it. But I love it.
it's tweaking and peaking me at the same time.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
you're tweaking and peaking at the same time.
I mean, really? Are we at the same place? Yes. Yes.
No, we're not at the same place.
Okay. Whatever.
Listen, haven't you seen the team grow, Kerry, from last year compared to this year?
Not a doubt. Not a doubt. But you
Yeah,
asked me
exactly.
how I would feel if they didn't make the playoffs and we're at the same place. And my
I
point would
hear
be,
you.
sure.
I hear you.
If we developed a quarterback in the process. But the answer to that still remains, I don't know.
No,
Listen,
answer's no.
look at where we are, considering that we had a quarterback starting for most of the year who played terribly.
We're 7-6.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So we're doing something right. We're 7-6 and we're in contention.
And at the beginning of next year, we'll still be saying Do we have a quarterback? Unless we do something like, acquire a veteran, because we ain't drafting no quarterback in this
No,
this draft.
because Kyle hates them
We're
all.
not
so
doing
we're just gonna,
it.
we're just gonna let
We're
There
not
ain't
doing it.
there ain't a veteran quarterback that'll be available to us that's going to be better than
Again,
Mike White.
I don't know that. I don't know if Garoppolo is going to be available. I don't know if
if Jackson
I don't
is going
know if
to be
Garoppolo
available.
Is better. I don't know if Garoppolo is better than Mike White.
I don't know that.
about
I don't know that either.
about
Again,
Gardner Minshew?
you know how I am, Kyle. I'm about being exponentially better. I'm not about being marginally better. If I'm going to change something, right? So I'm still looking at Mike White to see what we have. So at the end of the day, if he plays 4 more games and he plays the same way in terms of efficiency, in terms of passer rating, in terms of being able to move this offense, but still makes the poor, throws behind receivers instead of going up the field or allowing them to, catch and run, then I have to look at other options, right? And those other options, and those other options would have to be would be better options than him if he's playing the same way in the next 4 games as he played in this first 3.
In the first 3, all he's done is been a 65% passer and nearly thrown for 300 yards in every game, no matter what the weather is.
Right, but I would be replacing him. But I would be replacing him with a winner. If I'm gonna replace him with a winner, and I would say to you that Garoppolo is in that category of being a winner, as opposed to Mike White.
If he's available, because
if he's available, again, these are all ifs and what's with I don't know what the saying is, but we all know.
When I go to work every day, there's a name that I've been saying at
and
work,
don't say it again because I don't want to hear it.
And people hate it. And there's a specific
everyone does.
That hates it too.
And he's not a winner.
I'm not going to say his name.
He's not a winner.
But you know what?
He's a wiener. He's a wiener, not a winner.
I thought you were bringing Dan Orlovsky out of retirement.
Nah, I'm gonna say Gardner Minshew.
Again, he's a wiener, not a winner.
Listen, bring him in the camp. He's gonna be inexpensive. He's gonna be a free agent, and you have him battle it out. I'd rather have Minshew, Zach
Lamar
Wilson,
Jackson. I put it out there. I put it out there. It's official. Lamar Jackson. Leave me alone. Leave it alone.
Minshew.
Done.
Zach.
Minshew on that.
Yeah. Zach.
I don't think Minshew's as good as Mike White.
He's not. Again, exponentially better, not marginally better, and not a winner. Not a winner, but a wiener.
When you German or something?
Yes. Wiener Schnitzel.
Wiener Schnitzel.
Look, going back to Brian's original question, while you two turkeys talk
gobble to each other.
I would be disappointed if they didn't make the playoffs. Whether I'd be mad or angry about it would really come down to how the whole thing finished out. Yeah. Because the reality is we could have a really good season and still be the 4th best team in the AFC East, just like we were last year.
You said a really good season and be
a really good season.
So for that, so
that's
again,
over,
so Kyle,
season that's over 500.
So Kyle, for that to happen, we would have to lose half of the last games that we played, right? And if that said, right, then you would end up 9-8, right? That would make it still a successful season, given what we've accomplished so far.
9-8 is at least 2 wins better than any of you guys predicted.
Yeah, but I'm not. I disagree with how you feel about it, because once you get into the season and you see it developing, then your expectations have to change because of not just because of how you play, but because of how the rest of the league is playing as well, right? So nobody thought that Cleveland was going to stink as much as they do. Nobody thought that the Chargers were going to be where they are right now. They thought they were going to be more successful, right? So it's not just about how you're playing; it's about how the rest of the league is playing. That is in competition with you for making those advances to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
but the examples you just gave were two out of division teams.
Right, but
We
they're still
knew
vying.
that
They're
we
still
knew-
vying for a playoff spot.
so
we knew that Miami was going to be good.
Sure.
We knew that Buffalo was going to be
Sure.
good, and we knew we'd have a problem with New England.
Right, but did we
No matter
think?
how
But did
good or
we
bad
think?
they were.
Did we think all four of those teams would be vying for a playoff position at the same time from the same division?
no.
I thought
No.
I thought that
No.
if
Right. That's my
we
point.
are good, if we are good in our division, that means that every team in our division is good right now. I mean that's the way that it is. So yeah, we could go 9-8. We could come in fourth in the AFC East, and I would call that a good season.
And be a lot better than we were last season. And we can look ahead and see that, we're a growing team. And, we're going to get people back like, Elijah Vera Tucker. We're going to get back Brees Holmes. We're going to,
Brees Holmes? Who's Brees Holmes?
I'm sorry. Yeah, Brees Holmes. My bad.
Brees Hall, isn't it?
Yeah, Brees Hall. Yeah, my bad. I messed the whole thing up. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then, basically the real big question is answering the question regarding our quarterback between Mike White and another free agent that I'd like to bring in. I'm done with Flacco. He can go. Thank you very much, but goodbye, sir. All righty. And, just so that we're not swamped in the cap, because we got to re-sign Quinnen Williams, okay? He's coming up, I think he's in year 4 now of his contract, of his rookie deal. So we got to think about that.
Yeah.
I'd love to renegotiate with CJ Mosley.
Me too. I'd love to renegotiate with him. That's a dice roll. We don't know. We'll see what happens in March. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. But
Brandon, the other thing that you didn't mention too is that you get another draft from this front office that's done a really good job in the last 2 years. So there are a lot of positive things going in that direction, but I did predict 10 wins when this season started. So going back to what Kerry's saying, how we feel in the beginning of the season is different than how we feel in the middle of the season.
Gary, how many
You're
wins
right.
did you predict?
You're right. I feel validated.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
He said 7.
I predicted 7.
He said 7.
Yeah, I think mine was 7 as well.
Yeah, and I think answering my own question, I would be disappointed, but feel encouraged, depending on how the next 4 games go. If we're 0-4, I'm mad, right? If we're 2-2, and we don't make it, okay, fine, right? But we again have been in every single game. The only game that we got blown out per se was Cincy. Every other game we've been in. And the fact that he's changed the culture, a lot of things that Brandon already said, so I'm not going to rehash. The same way I feel.
Would you? What if we did go 0-4? You said you'd be tight, right?
Tight.
But what if we lost every one of those games by 1 point, each one of them?
I'd be super tight, because then I'd be like, we could have made the playoffs. I'm like, come on, man. I don't want to do that and watch all 4 of those games where we had playoff aspirations slip through our fingers by 1 point every week for the next 4 weeks. Come on, bro.
Oh my God.
Come on, bro. I can't.
Yo, Kerry, didn't you think that this stretch of games that we have coming up after this Buffalo game are the easiest stretch of our schedule preseason?
So you said after the Buffalo game?
Yeah, so we're talking Lions, Jags, Seattle, Miami.
I felt that we were going to be 3-1.
Right. But you didn't feel that we were going to be 4-1 in the first 5 games, right?
Not at all.
No, nobody.
So
nobody.
I subscribe.
I thought that we were going to be 2-2.
Your theory of expectations change during the season.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is that whatever your expectations were, or my expectations were, none of these games are going to be easy.
None of the upcoming or
none of the upcoming games are going to be easy at all.
No.
Right, because
and
Detroit your expectations about Detroit, about who they are as a team, changed. Your expectations about Seattle, who they are as a team, changed. Jacksonville, still the same to me, right? Miami, still the same to me, because I had us, winning the Jacksonville game. Well, I feel like I feel still confident that we can. And I have us losing to Miami, that I don't necessarily know that that's going to be the case, whether or not Miami decides to show up, right?
I think we need to win the next 4 games to make the playoffs.
And this is this discussion that I had with Brian today.
Yeah, I think if we're 3-1, I think we make it. Because
So do I.
because
3-1.
New England is who we have to really watch at this point in time, and their schedule is tough. They have to put their last 3 games are the Bengals, the Bills, and Miami.
They're losing all of them.
I mean, so
Arizona, they're losing.
No, Arizona, they're gonna beat Arizona on Monday. But I mean,
I said all of them, meaning the all 3 that he just mentioned.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Exactly. So that's where I feel like, and again, there are.
What about the Chargers? What about the Chargers?
Did New England play Seattle yet?
I don't believe in them. I don't know if we have the tiebreaker or not.
I don't
What'd you say?
think New England played Seattle.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
They did
When
play
did they
Seattle
play
already?
Early on in the season.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I think they blew the doors off
And
or something, but I forgot.
But it wasn't New England. I don't think it was in Seattle.
They beat Seattle, or Seattle beat them?
I'll tell you in a second, but I think they beat Seattle.
Yeah.
So you're saying 11 wins? You have to get 11 wins to get into the playoffs. I disagree with that. I think 10 wins get you in. Even with the lack of New England losing the games that we feel like they're going to lose, I think we still.
All right. Well,
I think 10 wins still get you in. I think.
I'll walk that back a little bit, because I keep forgetting that there's more teams,
Other teams, right,
getting in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Than
7.
in the past.
7.
Yeah.
I have the Patriots record right here if you guys want to listen out for it. You ready?
The record or the
game by game,
remaining.
game per game. The Pats played the Dolphins on September 11th, first game of the season. They lost 20-7. Then they played the Steelers. They beat the Steelers. Then they lost to the Ravens. Then they lost to the Green Bay Packers, who we beat. Yay! They beat up on the Lions. They shut them out 29-0. Then the Pats beat up on the Browns. And then the Bears destroyed the Patriots. The Patriots beat us the first time we played. Then the Patriots beat the Colts the game after.
Maybe they didn't play.
Then after that, they beat us again. And then they got beat by the Vikings. And then they got beat by the Bills last week. And now they're going to play tomorrow the Cardinals. They never played Seattle.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. My bad.
And they will,
So that means
just like we're not playing the Cardinals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and the remaining
okay.
schedule, I mean, like
9
I
can
think
possibly get us in, but 10 definitely does to me.
Yeah.
I think their remaining schedule, I think the Cardinals could beat them. They could,
I think the
Depends on
Cardinals
what they're
win.
playing.
I think the Cardinals win on Monday.
The Patriots are they're going to blow out the Raiders. That's who they play after the Cardinals. Then they play the Bengals. The Bengals are going to destroy them. Then it's the Patriots, Dolphins. When it's like, in your division, it's always kind of a dice roll. It's going to be a tough one, either way you go. And then they play the Bills last game of the season.
Yeah.
And I think the Bills have too much moxie right now to lose to the Patriots last game of the season when they could have the
I think home field will still
home
be
field advantage
bye.
is
First week
yeah.
bye
Have
will
the
still
bye.
be
Exactly.
on the table.
Yep.
Exactly. So,
Yeah, I mean, and if you put a loss on another divisional team, it helps you with the playoffs also, because it's within your conference.
Right.
Yeah.
You
we
know,
don't
so
have, we don't have another divisional game until the end of the season.
but that's the thing. It's like, but the Patriots have 2 to our 1.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah,
no
that makes
matter
sense. Yeah,
whether
I see you.
whether they win or lose those games, it'll
Impact.
help us in one way or another
Right.
Or hurt.
because
Well,
it's one. Well, I mean,
how so, Kyle? Because they have the tiebreaker
Because-
against us head to head, so there's nothing, from that perspective,
So we
conference,
got to be
none
a
of that
game
matters.
up. We got to be
you
a
know,
game
to-
up. We can't end
against
up
them.
tying.
Yeah,
So they
So
can.
let's
They can
say- so
literally.
let-
So how many wins do they have right now? 6.
they're 6-6.
So if they get 3 more wins, right, and they have 9 wins, we have to have 10.
Correct.
yeah, and if they beat the Bills, it doesn't change who's in first place.
Correct.
Probably, the Bills will probably get the division. One of those other teams is going to have to get the division, and it's not New England, right? So, and it's not going to be us. So, you gotta figure that whoever wins the division is not in the wild card hunt, right?
I mean, to me, you're rooting for Miami to win as many games as possible at this point, and Buffalo, right?
Because
Whoever
they're
they're
ahead
playing.
of you. Because they're ahead of you. You want
Because
them
they're
to beat
ahead.
up on them, whatever.
We're
You're not
not
going to be
gonna
able to
catch up
them.
with them. We're not gonna
Right.
catch them at this point. So just my 2 cents.
It just feels like those divisional games, well, not even divisional, just in conference games, are more important to win than the NFC crossover ones.
I think all games
mean, I
at
know
this point have an
They count as a win,
equal weighting, right? So, but the only thing that is the Chargers, right? Because we haven't played them before. So your point, as far as conference wins and losses, would be relevant if we end up tied with them. Where we stack right now, I don't know, but really, to me, because New England, we just gotta. To me, we gotta watch New England because they have the tiebreaker against us head to head. Now we can look at the conference and all that and figure it out, but we just got to win games at the end of the day, right? I mean, we got to win, beat the opponent that's ahead of us. Right now, we got Detroit, and then on the Thursday, we come back and we play Jacksonville, both at home.
Are we playing Detroit in Detroit?
No,
No,
both at
home.
home.
Jacksonville
Detroit,
is
Jacksonville, both at home,
All right.
Sunday, Thursday.
Right.
Right.
So I think at the end of the day, it's just we need to have one more win than New England. Period.
Yeah, we got two home. Yeah, I agree. Two home games, and then 2 away games.
Yep.
Sure.
And one of those away games is across the country.
We don't do.
But because I will be there yelling,
It's gonna make all
be
the difference in
Well,
the world.
You're the 11th
But
man.
that
fellas,
would be the power.
You're the 12th
I
man
think we
on the other
need to
side.
move on. But before we move on, just give me one thing, short and quick and to the point. One thing that we need to improve upon thinking about next week. Just one thing.
red zone.
Even though we may have more than one thing, but the biggest thing in your head.
Red
Hey,
zone.
Carrie, look at you.
Red
Look
zone
at you, check
scoring.
you out.
That's it. I'm jumping the gun. Red zone scoring.
That,
Yeah.
That's good and that's fair.
Yeah, got to score touchdowns and not field goals. I mean, so red zone or not, we got to hit sevens.
You gotta score.
Seven,
Period.
seven, seven, seven,
Period.
seven. You know what I mean?
I'll take scoring. I don't care if it's sevens or not. At this point, we gotta score. Like this is we're not even scoring.
Well, again, Minnesota, that should have been a win, but we scored all field goals. We kicked 5 field goals. Right.
6 times in the red zone, 1
Right.
touchdown.
So it really encompasses both things, right? I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
draw 2 circles, whatever's in the middle. You
Mhm.
got to hit that up. So.
Darts.
I think whoever is playing quarterback benefits exponentially from a good run game, and so we need a consistent and good run game. We don't need like a couple of good runs every once in a while. We need to be able to run the ball and create second and manageable, third and manageable, or not even get to third down because we're running the ball that well. We got to get away from the 40 plus attempts by our quarterback.
I don't think we had that this game though.
So
I like that. Now
We
that's
did.
fair.
yeah,
we
he
did.
threw at least 40,
41,
44
like
passes.
27 to 41 or something like that.
Yeah,
You're right.
And for me, I think our offensive coordinator needs to play less of the floor and more of the ceiling. You guys got me hooked on that. I love it. You know, less the floor and more the ceiling. You know, because and it's married to what you guys are saying: more touchdowns, more touchdowns, more touchdowns. I just think he just needs to do a better job calling plays and personnel because they're in charge of that as well, and personnel in the red zone, which is the areas that offer, I'd say, higher probability of scoring touchdowns. That's why they gave it its own name, the red zone. So you got to have a good and well defined red zone offense to execute plays with the proper personnel. And today I witnessed that, like having Berrios down there in the red zone, unless someone was hurt, I wanted to see bigger targets for our quarterback to hit, like a Mims or a Jeff Smith or someone like that, since Corey Davis was out, so it just seemed to me improper personnel and not the best play calling. So a lot less LaFleur, a lot more LaCeiling. And with that being said, guys, let's get into Tweak Me, Peak Me. Play it up. Yeah, folks, this is the Tweak Me, Peak Me segment. This is where all of our guys, we think about it, be like, what really kind of, gave me life today and what totally didn't give me that life at all, which kind of like, just honestly kind of pissed me off a little bit. So we call the things that we like tweak, actually the things that we don't like tweak, and the things that we do like peak. All righty? So it goes like this. All righty. Kerry came in with the energy. I want Kerry to come in with some more energy. Kerry, you're going to be the lead.
Oh, you want me to lead this off? You know what I'm going to say.
Definitely do.
You know what I'm going to say.
Which one you going with? Tweak or peak? Which one?
I will go with the tweak me right now, and that is absolutely Mike LaFleur. The floor. He is
Kerry,
not the ceiling.
What if LaFleur still had Darno?
Oh, you know what? You know what?
Meet me on Bourbon Street.
Right, meet me on Bourbon Street with a gimlet. Because, as you mentioned, right, you have these big targets, right, and you haven't used them. How many times have our tight ends or our big receivers scored touchdowns in the red zone? After being in the red zone, after entering the red zone, very few. I mean, you picked up Uzama, and you picked up Corey Davis, and you have Mims, you have Conklin, and why aren't we doing anything imaginative with these guys in the red zone? We're not scoring enough, and I attribute that not totally, but 65 to 75% of that to me is the play calling, and that has to change if we're going to make a run at these playoffs. We have 4 games left. We have minimum 3 winnable games. It is not our defense that is holding us back. It is our offense. A significant part of that is our offensive line, and they played significantly poorly today. Now, let me pivot. What is piquing me is Bam Morris. Morris? What's his last name? Knight. Somebody's name is Bam Morris, and it's not him.
Bam Morris was the Texas Tech running back that played for the Steelers.
That's what you did. That's what it is. But I've been calling for this guy to get more playing time for a long time. And
all right, Kerry, because I know you're about to feed it, but yeah, you're right.
Right. And I wasn't even going to say it. I wasn't even going in your direction, Brandon. I wasn't even looking in your ball-headed direction. I really wasn't. Cool. Right. But since you mentioned it, when we talked about it talked about it 2 weeks ago. After the Minnesota game, I was saying he was Mr. One Cut and up the field, and you were like, I don't see it. It's not. I don't see that kind of guy. I don't know what you're talking about. And look, clearly I was right and you were wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. You can admit it.
Listen,
it's
not
a
problem. I'm glad you
problem.
feel good about finally getting one because your Herndon was whack.
You know what? Why are we doing that? That's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing here. I can name a bunch of dudes that you
All right.
signed up for that are not even in the league right now. So we're not even going to go there in that direction. I'm just telling you,
Yeah.
this particular guy, I am happy with the decision. Thank you very much.
Good.
Goodbye.
All right. Bye. Bye. Kyle, go ahead. Bye.
My tweak me is going to stay in the wide receiver room. Super tweaked that Corey Davis can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
I think that he has bad luck, but he really adds a lot when he's out there, and he makes the other receivers around him better by his presence and his his catch radius, his ability to go up for a big catch, and his ability to take coverage away from Garrett Wilson. So I'm a little tweaked out, but I am also peaked out at the fact that Mike White continues to get Elijah Moore involved. Made some big plays today, run after catch. Denzel Mims had like 3 catches today.
Yeah.
But more importantly, no drops.
Yeah.
And then Wilson is just continuing on a rookie of the year type tear. So I think I sent to you guys the other day, like with the emergence of Bam Knight, you have a running back room that's going to cost like $5 million or less for the entire stable. You got all this youth at receiver. You're not trading any of it away now. And they don't want to go. Quite frankly, I think they want to stay. And
if we
you gotta
find
get
the
more
right,
out of your
if we
tight
find
ends.
the right quarterback.
Yeah, and I definitely think we're going to get 2 quality O linemen that are from the draft that are younger, that we could be pretty happy about. So wide receiver is checkbox for me. We're really good in that department right now, and even Berrios doesn't cost a lot of money. So, and he's re-signed, so he'll be around for a while. So yeah, that's my tweak and peek.
What's up, B?
Yeah.
Your tweet-
So what's peaking me? I'm gonna start with my peak, and my peak is I'm gonna take it out of the Jets for a second and go to the Knicks and their 3-game winning streak.
Oh boy.
Did they play today?
They play today at in 5 minutes. As a matter
5
of fact.
minutes. Okay, all right. So
they play Sacramento.
We'll see if we can stretch it to 4. But played the Cavs, beat them. Played Charlotte, beat them, and forgot the team in the middle. But Atlanta beat the Hawks as well.
Atlanta. And that was a fairly healthy Atlanta.
No,
And,
not at all. They weren't healthy at all.
DeJounte Murray got hurt in 3 minutes into the game.
He was healthy when the game started,
which was 3 minutes in, and they only had 4 stars. They had 4 starters out.
But again,
But who cares?
it doesn't matter. I don't care who's in
Play
front
who's
of
in
them,
front
who
of
they
you.
had to
Right.
play, who was on the bench. I don't really
It's
care.
about who they're playing
It's
we're excited about.
It's about wins and losses at the end of the
Right.
day. And they shrunk the rotation to 9 players. And so you have Grimes out there. You had
Deuce
you had Deuce McBride out there. The defense, I love seeing it. So hopefully they can continue that and make the playoffs at some point this season. And my tweak right now is that we do all of this and have this nice Jets season. Don't make the playoffs. I don't pray for a lot of things, but I just want to make the playoffs this year, right? I just want to close the deal. Let's close the deal. We haven't been there since 2010. Has it been that long? I mean, I just want us to close the deal. And again, for Salah, for all those young kids in there, I mean, I just think it would do so much for the program. So I hope I'm not supremely tweaked 4 weeks from now. But that's why I'm a little slightly tweaked right now because we don't control our own destiny at this point. That's it.
I got you. Great points by everyone. You guys covered a lot of things, so I'm not going to double or triple up on what you guys have said. We got my own unique vibe over here. My Tweak Me and Peak Me are married to each other because it's the same person. It's Quinnen Williams. You know what I'm saying? As far as my peak perspective on it, the Jets had 3 sacks today. Quinnen Williams, 3 technique defensive tackle, had 2 of them. Alrighty, he's the one that opens up everything for the defensive line to get their own respective pressure. You know, he is the foundation of this defense, and you know you have a good defense when you have either your nose or your interior tackle is so good that they can start building from the inside out, and I feel like that's what the Jets did. You guys know I love the guy. I love the guy. I fell in love with him. I've watched him grow. He's a fantastic player. He's got to be voted All-Pro, first team, and we got to sign him back up. I love Quinnen. And the tweak me is the fact that he got hurt. Like, I'm borderline about to shed the single teardrop. You know, I might do the single one just to keep my man card on me. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I mean, I'm a little crushed out. Like, I really hope he didn't tear his Achilles or something like that, because you know they give you the whole like, oh, calf, injury. You know, very vague.
Yeah.
And you know, the calf thing could mean, you know, a torn Achilles. Just like when someone says like a knee injury could be an ACL. You know,
he doesn't have a torn Achilles.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
You drag your foot when you tear your calf or your Achilles. He was walking. He had a salon pause on the back of his leg. Salon pause. It's like an icy hot pad. Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
I thought you were bringing something. I thought you were bringing something new into the culture, like you know, something that happens in like the hair salon that makes them pause. You know,
the listeners out there know what a salon pause is. They find it at their local Dwayne Reed.
That's
fun. You're just stuck in the Shaquille O'Neal icy hot commercial.
You know what? I don't even take that as a dig. He's right. He's definitely right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So basically, that's my tweet me, peek me, guys. And you know, let's give a shout out. Aaron Judge stay in the Yankees. You know, I don't care how anybody feels about it. We need to keep something. We need to keep something here, man. So let's go.
Blah blah
let's
blah
go.
blah blah blah
Bang,
blah
bang, 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 bang,
Yeah, bang, bang, bang. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so let's go New York sports, you know? So listen, thank you guys for watching another episode of the BKBK podcast. We want to be able to keep bringing you the latest news and viewpoints of where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. So keep watching. You can find us on Facebook, on our BKBK podcast fan page. Make sure you like us and share us all over the place and all that good stuff. You can also find us on Twitter at BKBK Podcast, on Instagram at BKBK Podcast, as well as on YouTube. When you go to YouTube, hit the like and the subscribe button. Send the link to all your friends, your girlfriends, and all that good stuff. All that. All righty.
Go download that Apple Podcast and listen to it on your dog walk.
That's right. You know, when you
dog
walk Fido, you know, or Pilar,
your dog walk.
Your dog walking these dogs and represent the crew.
If you're walking your dog on Oceanside, you might just see Robert Sala.
Yeah.
Grabbing a bagel.
Yeah.
If you're
grabbing a bagel
over there by Nathan's.
Yeah, or you might see Jay Fiedler down there. You know what I mean?
Oh Lord.
Oceanside kid, right? Anyway, yeah. So listen, if you want to do that, just go to BKBK Podcast .podomatic.com. All right, guys. So hey, listen, that's it. Let's go Jets. Let's go Baldwin Bruins. That's our high school, everybody. For all you new viewers, Baldwin, Long Island, representing. That's right. All right. And let's go Team BKBK.
That's right.
We're out.